Hey everyone, it's me, Kirk Mastin from Mastin Labs, and today's on What Makes This Photo Great episode, we're going to be talking about dramatic low-light portraiture and the tips and tricks that you can use to make your portraits really, really shine. So, let's dive into it. Alright, all of these photos are from the Mastin Labs community. They're all edited with our film emulations and styles for Lightroom and Capture One. And I'm going to go over the lighting, composition, and anything else that makes a photo really, really work. So, this very first photo is by Gracia Kogut, and he edited this photo with Xperia 400 from the Fuji Lifestyle Everyday Pack. It's just called the Lifestyle Everyday Pack. It's Fuji Xperia 400 from the Lifestyle Everyday Pack. And what I love about this photo is, there's so many things to love. It is very, very, very striking, obviously. But what I love about it is that he used this shaft of light that comes through his studio intentionally to highlight her face, and specifically her expression right here. And I'm drawn immediately to her eye. It's just amazing. You've got kind of like this, it's like kind of a giant arrow of light coming in right into the middle of the photo, and your eye as the viewer is always going to go to the brightest part of the photo. So by having everything be bright in the middle, specifically focusing you in on her eye, you go right to her expression, and it just looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like this is in a kind of a white background studio. You can kind of see these rear walls back here, and here's the corner of it. So it's like a white studio. She's sitting in a chair. She's kind of tilted back, and she's playing with her hair, and there's this nice beam of light kind of raking over her, across her face and then onto her arm. I don't think this would be as strong a photo if we didn't also illuminate her arm. It just kind of gives you that nice, like a plane of information that stands out from everything in the background. What I love about how this photo is lit is that just by using one single kind of strong light source through a window, there is enough information in the shadows that you can see that she is grabbing her hair right here. That's my little hand. And then her other hand is up here. Here's her thumb. That looks kind of strange, but you can see that she's playing with her hair up here, and then her hand extends all the way to the top to grab her hair at the top. And your eye is drawn through the photo in this kind of fantastic S shape. So it goes down her hair, out to her elbow, down to her shoulder, and then exits out the bottom through the chair. It's this nice diagonal. And in the middle, you have the center of interest, which is her face. So great lighting, side lighting, an emphasis on the center of the photo with her eye in particular, and then really nice hidden detail in the shadows. Those are the things that make this photo great. Also, just the styling is perfect. Yeah, I love everything about it. So there you go. Great job. Okay, on this second photo, this photo is by Sabrina. And this photo kind of really caught my attention in the group because you don't often see intentional mixed lighting like this. So mixed gelled strobe portraiture. And what I mean by that is that this photographer was shooting this night portrait, but to emphasize the coolness of the background, Sabri put probably some kind of orange gel over their flash. And by doing this and pointing it at their subject's face, you get this really nice contrast of warm and cool. And it's very, very stylized. So what I think is interesting, and how I know that it's a gelled flash, or I'm 80% sure. There could be like a street light or something that's like this really narrow, like laser beam of light, of orange light. But what I see, which makes me think that it's a strobe flash, is that you've got this separation right here on the side of his face. So on this side of his face, it's orange. On this side of his face and beyond, it's just very neutral light. So like the light right here on the side of his face, I can see doesn't have any orange in it, and then there's just kind of this hard break, and it goes right to his face and to his hair. Even this like part of his hair right here is not orange, so I know that it's some kind of gelled strobe. That's what I think. And then to emphasize this further, Sabri used Cinestill 800T from the new Night and Day pack that we just released, which is a tungsten balanced film made for nighttime photography. So what tungsten balanced means is that the color temperature of that film is balanced for tungsten light, which is this light in the background, which would normally be very yellow, but it is balanced out by the very cool tone or emulation of 800T, of Cinestill 800T, which is a cinema film with the remjet backing removed, making it into a still photography film. And to get really dorky here, the reason they removed the remjet backing is that it can't be processed at a normal lab with that backing. It would gunk up the rollers, so they remove it before packaging it so that you still photographers can use it for your still photography. What does the remjet backing do? It prevents halation around highlights. So when you remove it, you start to get this kind of a red glow around highlights. This photographer did not use the halation action that comes with that preset, so you don't see that, but it does have the bluer tungsten white balance, and that blue cool white balance, like the background, really sets up a nice contrast with his face. And then his expression is I don't know, it's very considered. You know, you can see in his eyes that he's really like, you know, looking at the viewer intently. It's just a good expression. And then as far as like composition goes, you know, he is sitting, you know, pretty nicely in the rule of thirds here, which if you've seen some of my other videos, this is a very classic compositional structure to make a photo powerful. So he's sitting right here on this third, his face is, and that just makes it a stronger photo. Humans like that kind of asymmetrical composition for some reason. No one actually knows. Maybe someone knows. If you know, tell me in the comments. I don't know why the rule of thirds works so well, but it does. And it seems to be kind of universal. There's also the golden ratio, which is kind of this curve, the spiral that goes around the photo. But tell me if you know why those ratios make people happy. Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear about it. All right, moving on. This photo is by Allison Mosbeck. She used Cinestill 800T that we have in the Night and Day pack, and she also applied the halation action, which created these really cool glows around the candle flame. So you see these like little pink halation, you know, glows around the candle flame. And then it also has, again, a really nice contrast between warm colors. So we've got the warmth of her skin and these candles, and then a very cool neutral background, and that comes from a tungsten-based emulsion. So what makes this photo work for me is that the mood is matched by the color contrast. What I mean by color contrast is that it's not contrast between dark and light parts of the photo. So normal contrast, the way that most people think about it is, you know, you've got light part of the photo and then you've got a dark part of the photo, or you've got contrast throughout, you know, the difference between light and dark. I'm talking about color contrast. So kind of the difference between warm and cool, or opposing colors on a color chart. They have contrast because they are their opposites, and we've got the cool background back here and the warmth of her skin making a contrast, and then that's further emphasized by these candles. So that's one thing I like about it. The second thing I love about this photo is her posing, her posture. It's very, very classic. It looks like something from a Renaissance painting. You've got her eye line is looking off camera or off frame, outside of the frame, so you're kind of wondering what she's looking at. It's very, again, it's very like subdued look, very like she's very pensive. She's thinking about something, and then we have this really nice composition with her arm resting on her shoulder with nice detail from her fingers. It's very hard to pose hands really well in general. You know, it's kind of like Will Ferrell with his like, what do I do with my hands? You know, like Talladega Nights thing. You know, hands can be very awkward. Allison did a fantastic job posing this person with her hand kind of up on her shoulder and then her other hand tucked in at her waist. Great job. That really makes this work for me. That her expression plus her posing, fantastic. All right, last thing that I love, well, I love so many things about this photo. The last major thing that I love about this photo is that Allison has made it more interesting by introducing different layers of information, different depths of information. She's really worked on layering in her photo. So we have three kind of main layers. We've got this out of focus kind of flower candle situation here, okay? That's layer number one. Layer number two is the subject, okay? So she's at a kind of a mid distance. And then layer number three is this background, which has, you know, there's nothing going on in there. It's just like very uniform, which is actually fantastic. And you've got these three layers that are playing with each other to make this photo feel like it has depth. Plus the lighting. We've got this really nice wraparound lighting coming from the side. I don't know if this is shot with like a giant strobe. I'm thinking it might be some kind of octobox, which is like a giant, huge light source, but it looks really good. All right. All right, enough. I can go on and on, but I just love this photo so much, I just can't help myself. So, great job, Allison. I love to see it. Please post more of your amazing portraits because that just gets me really stoked. All right, so our next photo here is by Carly Funk. We are now taken outside. This is the only like daytime outdoor photo in this set, but I consider it a low light dramatic portrait because it is taken at sunset and we've just got a really definite mood happening here. So Carly Funk used Ektar, which is a very colorful film preset that we have in the Adventure Everyday Pack. It's one of our most popular across all kinds of photography. But I love that she used it to do a moody maternity photo. Now, this was shot very late in the day. I can tell because of the shadows. So you can see that the light source is hitting her, like these rays of light just hitting her, but the background is really dark. We've got a little bit of light on the rocks back here, but that is it. So the sun is very low in the sky. Her face is turned into the light just slightly, but kind of the perfect amount. We don't have any kind of unpleasant nose, like, I don't know what you'd call it. Whoa, that looks funny. When you've got kind of a nose intersecting a cheekbone at the wrong angle can look kind of weird, but she used a very classic kind of 3/4 turn for the face, leaving a little bit of space from the tip of the nose to the edge of the cheek. That's really, really nice. That's really important. It's a small detail, but it's a good detail. The posing is fantastic. Again, very classical. If her leg wasn't up like that, kind of cocked up, she wouldn't have this really nice shape, like this kind of curving shape. She would be kind of like, I don't know, standing very awkwardly if her leg was down, just turned sideways. So great posing. For maternity posing, again, this is really good. She has found a place for her model's hands to be. So there's one arm here and then the hand up on top, like on top of her chest. And then the other hand, you can see there's enough light that you can see that her other hand is resting under her belly. And that's just a really non-awkward way of posing hands. So I love it. Really good job. Simple posing, and the expression is very good. It's moody. It's kind of classic. This photo is going to age well. The styling is really good. So for all those reasons, this photo is a real winner for me. So good job, Carly. I love it. All right, we got two more photos here. So this photo is by Rodney Williams, and I picked this photo because it's done in a very traditional way, like traditional portraiture with strobe and a painted background, but it's done just perfectly. And I just think that he found all the right elements. Like Rodney just really understands how to use strobe lighting well, and you can see it. It looks, again, this looks kind of like a Renaissance painting. This beautiful light. I know for sure that this is some kind of artificial light, so some kind of strobe or giant softbox, probably off right over here, huge, probably on some kind of a stand. There's my little stand. Beautiful, right? With a little strobe inside, and then this is the big softbox, because you're getting this really beautiful soft light on the side of her, and it drops off pretty quickly on this side. There may be another fill light over here, bouncing a little bit of detail back into her arm, or Rodney may have just dodged this a little bit, so lightened it in Lightroom or Capture One. The composition is really good. I mean, so besides the lighting, the composition is really good because we have kind of an equal weight between the right side of the photo and the left side. So by having this bouquet back here, we have two things happening. We have a mirroring of the main colors, so red and red, and then we also have a mirroring of shapes. So this is a very tall kind of bouquet, and then she is, you know, kind of roughly the same, like kind of this tall shape within the other side of the photo. If you were to do kind of the rule of thirds, you would see that we've got everything like perfectly lined up. We've got her face on this point, we've got part of the bouquet here, the end of the bouquet here, and then her hand on the other part. So that's great composition. Feels maybe just a tiny bit crooked right here, but that could be just me looking at my monitor, kind of strange. But I mean, it is. I'm nitpicking here. It's really well done. So great job, Rodney. You nailed it. You got the soft lighting, great composition, great backdrop, nothing extraneous, and it just works. So good job. All right, and so for our last dramatic low light portrait, we have something that is not completely a traditional portrait. I mean, this looks like almost like a moment, a photojournalist moment. I put it in here just because I love the use of this photographer's use of light and layering, and this is Sainab El Sayed Ali. And Sainab's photos in the group are fantastic. Everything this person puts up is great, but this one really caught my eye because, and it's a small thing, for me, it's all about this hair flip. Okay, right there. This hand kind of going up like she's been, she's surprised, like that there's someone over there, like kind of looking behind. And then her expression, her eye, her mouth, it's just perfect. It's like, I don't know, it's like Vogue level kind of moment, and black and white. It just can't get more classic than that. I don't know what she used to process this photo. It might be Pan F from the Artist in Black and White pack. It doesn't really say. That's what it looks like to me. It's because it's got the really deep dark tones. Who knows? But anyway, the photo really works in black and white. It's absolutely timeless. And there's, besides this wonderful expression happening here, there's two other elements that make this photo great for me. One is obviously the composition. So I feel like she's a little bit low here. Like I would almost crop in just a little bit, like take this part out so that you would push her head a little bit more into the corner, but it's fine. It still looks really great. We've got, you know, again, I'm going to pull up my rule of thirds. She's a little bit off center from the middle, but it's fine. But what really draws my eye is this kind of repeating archway, right? So she's in some kind of maze, or I don't know what it is, a villa. But you've got these like repeating archways over her, and that really draws your eye straight in every direction to her face. And that is just perfect composition. Okay, other thing that I love about it. And you couldn't have asked for better lighting. You've got some kind of gap right here. So she is running in front of some kind of gap between these, I don't know, whatever, branches holding these shrubs back. And that little gap of light is like a little strip light, like a little narrow strip of light that's lighting her up perfectly on the side. And that's perfect. So this was timed really well. The photographer was probably like, okay, I want you to walk down there. Okay, hold on, stop, like right there, you're right in that shaft of light. Okay, now I want you to kind of like flip your hair back, and you know, they took a picture. Or maybe the bride or whoever this is, the model, was like running down that path and the photographer was just waiting for that perfect moment. But either way, they got it, and I love it. So I hope that was interesting and helpful to all of you. I love doing these episodes. There's so much that you can learn from just picking apart other people's work in a positive, constructive way to see how they lit it, how they posed it, how they found the right composition, how they processed it to make it all work and make it great. So if you enjoyed this, please follow and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also check out our Mastin Labs Facebook group where you can drop in one of your photos to be edited by one of our community members to see if Mastin Labs works for you. But until next time, have a great day and happy editing.